Set Piece Podcast. Hi everyone, I'm Miles Weston
And I'm Kerry Phillips.
and this is the Set Piece Podcast.
And this is where we talk about everything to do with football, mental health and well-being. And we've got a real special guest for us today. Real special guest. Miles knows him very well.
Yeah, my guy, Paul McCallum.
How you doing, bro?
All good, all good. Thanks
can't-
for having me.
Sorry, I cut you off there because
I was
just
say-
about to go. We need to shout out his accolades. Go on, say it. Let
Top
him know.
goal scorer in the league, now. Come on. You know what I'm
Let's
saying?
not play around with that. We
Nice.
appreciate
Trust
you,
me.
man. We appreciate you. We got to show appreciation to you, bro. Thank you for coming there, man. How
Thanks
are
for
you?
having me. I'm all good. Me and Westy were just looking at the people of Hackney outside in the coffee shop a minute ago. It's a very, very weird area. Very weird area.
Hey, Josh ain't gonna lie that one.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Oh, is it? Yeah. No, but thank you for coming on, man. I mean, how's things for you, man? Obviously, season done now. Just chilling.
Yeah,
relaxing?
all good. You know what? Towards the back end of the season, you can't wait for it to be done.
Yeah.
And then within 3-4 days of the season being done,
Yeah.
you're bored out your brains. Like I can't wait to go back. You know,
Yeah.
so I've got a holiday booked next Monday.
Okay, wicked.
To fly out there and then get ready to go back for pre-season.
Okay, yeah. So talk to me about that because, like, as footballers, like you like, as you said, you can't wait for the season to be done. But like, correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, you're not training. Like, so you it's the routines kind of changed and stuff like that. What do you find yourself doing just to try and buy time?
To be fair, I still wake up at 6:30.
Okay.
But now I just go back to bed
Yeah,
rather
yeah.
than getting up
Yeah.
and driving. But yeah,
Yeah.
nice. You don't realize it, but the days are long.
Yeah.
And like we go into training from 9 till probably 2-3, and then your day's done. And you think that was a long day, but
Yeah.
when you're sat at home doing nothing, I don't know how some people do it, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been doing it for a while now. Just not doing that. I'm playing. But seriously though, like, once again, thank you for coming on, man. And like, I feel like, especially with what we're doing, for you to come on now, especially being top goal scorer, like, how's that been for you, man? How does that make you feel?
You know what? It was a bit. I didn't score for the first few games, and then I just went on a patch where I was scoring two,
Yeah.
and it felt like I was going to score every game, you know. And then I think the longest I went without scoring this season was 4 games.
Yeah.
You know, and even then it felt long, but it's been a good season, and you know, I feel good, I feel fit, I feel strong, and hopefully I have another season like it.
So,
Next
as
year.
a striker, yeah, when you don't score, what goes through your mind? Is it pressure? Is it nerves? Like, what do you feel like when you go through a period when you don't score goals?
You know, like I said, for me, it was only 4. I think it was about 4 games this season. You know, like the longest run. But yeah, you feel like you shouldn't even be on the pitch. Like there's no point in you being out there. You're on the pitch to score goals.
Right.
And as for other strikers, they might like run about and work harder and fly in and do all that. But I'm just a target man type of striker who's in the box to score goals.
Yeah.
So if I start flying about and tracking people back and running about more, everyone's going to know I'm having a bad game because I'm trying to cover it up. So when I don't score, it's, you know, I think I'm at the age now where I know chances are going to come, and I just need to be ruthless when I get the chance.
Yeah. Just to do on the flip side of what Miles is saying though, do you feel like, because you've had this run of scoring, do you feel like there's been a bit more of a confidence in terms of this year, how you felt outside of football? Do you feel good about yourself within that?
Off the pitch, I'm really good at separating on and off the pitch. You know,
Okay,
like so if I score a hat-trick on a Saturday, I'll probably actually enjoy the Saturday night a bit more than if I didn't. But off the pitch, I just forget about what I'm doing on the pitch. So in the changing room and around the grounds and before games, I'm confident.
Right.
But I think I've always been confident because I've always had a good goals to game ratio. So I know that I'm gonna score eventually. I just need to keep doing what I'm doing. So yeah, on the pitch, definitely I've been. This is probably the most confident I've been all season. But
That's
like I
dope.
said, off the pitch, it doesn't really carry over to that
That's
side.
really good. That's really good. And let's start with how it started. Where did it begin for you in terms of like from young? Like,
Yeah, so it started. It was back in 2011, I think. One of my best friends, Quay Taylor, he just got released from Fulham at the time.
Okay.
And then we was on the way back from a trip from Fort Park with one of our youth workers, Sean. Sean,
Yeah.
And he Kevin James, you must remember Kevin
I know
James.
Kevin James, yeah.
He's good friends with Sean, and he said, does Quaid and Paul want to come to Dulwich Hamlet trials? And Quaid was like, yeah, because obviously Quaid was brought up in the academy system and all that, and I was just like messing about playing football.
Oh, swear down.
So and then I said to Quaid, look, I was at college at the time, and like I said, he just got released. He didn't get offered a scholarship, and then I was like to Quaid, like, I'll come with you. Like, we get to play for the same team. We get to do the same college scheme thing.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to that, ended up getting in. And then literally from there, I had the chance with the first team. Gavin Rose, the manager at the time, gave me a chance in the first team. And I just was scoring goals from then as well.
Serious?
So yeah, it happened really quick. And then I think it was within 5-6 months, it was a January transfer window that I had, I think it was like 15, 16 different professional clubs all wanted me to come in and all sign for them. Yeah.
So what, you was in college, so that's at 17, 18?
Yeah. So I was in my first year at Coulsdon College. And then, like I said, if I didn't go to Fort Park that day, I wouldn't be sitting here now, because I wouldn't have had that opportunity. So shout out to Sean. I always pick him up on that.
Sean, man.
Sean, man.
Yeah, shout out Sean. Listen, you need to get your goal bonus, Sean, because we got the top goal scorer here. You know what I mean? Like, so just if I go a little bit back, then, so what was you playing in terms of like under 15s and under 14s?
So there was I used to play in a team called Wallerton Wanderers.
Okay.
It was Mitcham Little League.
Yeah.
So it wasn't anything,
Wow.
it was just Sunday league, I can't even remember really even playing them times, but I used to play all sports when I was younger. I was good at cricket, badminton. I was good at every sport. So it wasn't, I never grew up saying I want to be a footballer. It was never a thing. The only time I realized, wow, I could be a footballer here is when I started seeing my name like in articles, in the papers and that, saying Wonder Kid and all this, and I was thinking, what? So that was the only time I realised that hang on, I can actually be a footballer. This is what every kid dreams of.
So I was going to ask. So you said there was 15 clubs.
Yeah.
And obviously, eventually, you went to West Ham.
Yeah.
And what was the reason why you chose West Ham? And because you did obviously have an agent, or did you have an agent at the time?
No, yeah. So I had someone who was advising me. They were good friends with Gavin. At the time. I went into Reading. I trained with Reading. Brian McDermott at the time said like he was really interested. I trained with the first team. Went to West Brom, trained up there. I didn't like it. At the time I was with my kid's mum, and we was just about to have our firstborn. I had my first son when I 17, 18, so I was young. So I think West Brom was a no-go for me because I didn't want to go away, and they were offering me a first year a scholarship and then a pro, the same as like other clubs that I was on the phone to or speaking to, whereas I was in at West Ham for a while. I think I was there for a couple of weeks, and Quaid came in as well, so it was good. I was thinking, we're both going to sign here, and then I think it was either Reading or West Ham. It was going to be like the main two choices, and Reading wanted me to move into the digs, and West Ham I was coming in with Jerome, the goalkeeper coach. So that was and obviously West Ham, they're known for producing good talent. So, and the group I was training with, I felt comfortable around them, like Dom Vos, Robert Hall, all of these players. So Blair Turgott, Matthias, like all of them. I felt comfortable around them, and I felt accepted in that change room. So I ended up choosing West Ham.
And in terms of that environment, you said, how important was it that you had that kind of environment while you was around there? Like, obviously, which made you make the decision? Yeah,
because I think as we're older pros now, we see when a new person comes into the changing room, it could be
intimidating.
Yeah,
it's
very,
intimidating.
very intimidating.
Sometimes it depends on if the group embraces you.
And like most of the boys, like Blair, like the names that I said, they were all from South London as well. So we'd come in together, so it was important. And going back to that, in some changing rooms, you go in for the first time and, someone doesn't give you introduce themselves, you think, oh, he doesn't like me. So it's very intimidating, I think, as a player. But yeah, that changing room was a good changing room.
So that was 2010, right?
2010, 11, I think it was around that time,
And you was there from 2010 to 2015?
Yeah.
And how was it like in between? Was you at different clubs or...?
Yeah, so I got loaned out a lot. I was never really there for a long period of time. I think I went on 5-6 loans.
Okay.
Yeah.
What clubs? Where did you play? What was the clubs that you played at?
So my first loan was to Rochdale.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, but I had a stress fracture in my shin that I didn't know about. So I went up to Rochdale, trained on we had Charlton. We trained on a Friday and then came down to the Marriott Hotel just in Dartford. And my shin was killing me. Ended up pulling out of the match day squad against Charlton because it was funny because one of my friends, Matty Fry, was there and I was going to play against him. So, but I had to pull out the squad, got a scan on my shin, and I had a big stress fracture in my shin. So that ended my loan there. Went back to West Ham, and I was out I think for like 4 or 5 months for that. So that season was finished. Yeah. And then after that, my first proper loan that I call it, where I played was AFC Wimbledon.
Nice.
That was my first loan. Yeah, in League Two. Yeah.
And just going back to like your fracture, was that the first major injury that you had as a footballer?
Yeah, I think it was the first ever injury I had because you know when you're younger you don't
Run
get
through
injured.
everything.
You don't even know what muscles are.
And how long were you out for?
I think it was 4-5 months. I can't really remember how long it was.
It might be a bit difficult, but what was that like? Because from going to just playing football and not having to worry about it to not playing for like 4 or 5 months, what was
If
that
I'm
like?
being honest, it was kind of a relief for me because I went from Dulwich Hamlet, where I was going college every day and like messing around with my friends, to going into West Ham and then being put with the first team sometimes, thinking, oh, this is a different level. Like I was a nervous wreck training with them. You don't want to make mistakes. You don't know what they're thinking about
Pressure,
you.
innit?
So when I went on loan and came back, I was like, I don't have to train. Like I could see them they're training. I don't have to train. So it was kind of relief. Now it was a relief because obviously I was in a new environment and I didn't really understand it being a professional footballer at that time.
So just going back to that, like, so you obviously was training with the first team. Like when you started training with the first team, certain times, how did that make you feel? Because you're seeing I'm here at West Ham, from Dulwich Hamlet to West Ham, and now you're training with. What sort of players were there at that time?
So there was a group of us that would have to go over to Little Heath first, and then some of us would get called over with the first team. So you'd have to leave and go across, and it was scary. I'm not gonna lie, it was scary. I look back at it now, and there's nothing to be scared of. But it was scary, and there was a lot of pros in that team. You know, like Mark Noble, Tompkins, the boys who have come up through the who were very supportive of you. Like they looked after you. But then there were some other players in that team who
bit vicious.
Were they threatened? Did you say?
No, I don't think they were threatened. I just think they were from different. They weren't English young players. They'd come over from other like different leagues and that. And there's always this one player. I won't name his name, but I'd love to see him on holiday.
Serious? Wow.
I'd love to see him.
But you know what? Do you know why I said were they threatened? Because sometimes like a youngster coming through that's good.
Yeah.
Sometimes the first team they think, yo, we need to make sure this guy don't come in and take my spot. That's how some people think. I promise you. Do you know what I mean?
That's wild that they think like that.
But man, think about it. Look, there's a lot of good talent in these clubs.
Yeah.
Like a lot of good, and think about West Ham are known for bringing through players. For Lampard, Joe Cole, Defoe. Sometimes if you see there's good talent, young talent coming through, as the first team player, you'd be thinking, right, I don't want
we had our age group was very good. Very good.
Yeah.
And it's surprising that some of the players don't even play in the National League. Now they play lower than that, and there's some I'd name one, Dom Vos. It's probably one of the best footballers I've ever played with, and he can't get a sniff anywhere. So
what do you think that's down to now? Then do you think do you think it's because of the fact that the players that are getting the opportunity now are getting even younger and younger? Like they're giving.
No, do you know what it is? I think it's a mixture of things, man. Like sometimes you have to be in the right environment, man. Like if you're in the right environment, that could help. If you're not, it could be a detriment to you. Do you get what I'm saying? And even because I know Dom, so shout out to Dom. So even going on different loans and seeing how you do in different clubs, some clubs are just not for you. Do you know what I mean? And some clubs are. It's just when you obviously every player tries to do their best, but sometimes it just don't work. Do you know what I mean?
And I think it's timing as well, because I might have missed a chance to play when I was out on loan all the time, you know, and then I saw other youngsters getting their chances while I was out on loan. You know, we got Sheffield United in the FA Cup, and we were doing shape, and the manager at the time wanted to make a point about the congestion of fixtures, so all the young boys played in it, but obviously I had played for, I think it was Torquay in the round before.
Okay.
So I was cup tied, so I didn't get my opportunity to play in that, you know. So it was frustrating. But going out on loan, it teaches you a lot. You have to man up real quick when you're on loan.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Was one of the loan Hearts?
Yeah.
What was that like?
You know what, Hearts it come about last minute. Okay. I was just on loan at Torquay just before that at the time, and didn't extend my stay at Torquay, and then Hearts came about, and I got a call saying like, you're going up to Hearts, and I was a bit reluctant at first because it was miles away, but they said no, your family can go, we'll sort out the apartment for you, all of that. So I was like, we're doing this. I didn't really take into consideration how big Hearts is as a club. Like, you know, you're a bit naive, you're a bit naive, and then went up there, and I'll be honest, like that's the only club that I went to that I have so much regret, because I didn't make the most of my opportunity there. I went up there, it was a young squad, they were under a transfer embargo, they couldn't sign anyone, so I was like one of the oldest players there at 20, I think I was 21 at the time, and I didn't make the most of it. If anything, I would say I was very nervous, especially when I think the Scottish Cup semi-final was my first game for them, and I came on and it went to penalties, and I missed my penalty, and obviously they get big crowds, and I think that shot my confidence, and then from then I know it sounds crazy, I didn't want to play, so like I'd be on the bench, and then we'd be playing against another big team, and the manager would say go warm up, and then I'd go warm up and stay out there, so maybe he would forget about me coming back. At the time it was very, and I wish I could go back now, but you know, it at the time I was very rarely I get nervous, but I was very nervous there.
Listen, I think it comes with maturity. Them things like missing penalties, I think as footballers we've all got something like that we've gone through. I've missed a penalty, and after that, you know, your confidence is shot. Especially if it's a penalty that could not your penalty made him lose, but like when I missed my penalty, I basically, that was to win the game. Like, do you get what I mean? In that we if I scored, we would have won it. And I know the manager was mad at me. Do you get what I'm saying? So naturally, your confidence is shot. So what did you do to get your confidence back?
You know what? I didn't recover. My confidence didn't recover. You know, it's the end of the season was coming up. I rolled my ankle, and it was a bad sprain. And I sort of used that to get my loan terminated and went back to West Ham. You know, it was crazy because I put my partner at the time and my son on the train so they could get back quick, and I drove all the way back the same day, like all the way from Edinburgh to because I don't know, I just wanted to get out of there, and I regret it so much because I remember playing against Celtic, and Van Dijk played for Celtic at the time, and I was like, this is good, but something in me at the time, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the penalty, because after the penalty, I went and threw my boots in the river. And I was like, no, I'm never wearing them again. And I don't think I mentally recovered.
Did you have like a support network in terms of like when you were feeling like low in terms of that? Like, did you have, or did you kind of keep that in?
At that time, no. I just had my partner at the time. And you know, your partner's always going to say, oh, you played well. I didn't play well. Like, when they don't really understand football. Like, I didn't play well. Like, so it was just her and my son at the time, who was about 3 years old. So that was it. And then it was just go home, have dinner, blank out football, and then wake up in the morning. Oh, I've got to go back in. And don't get me wrong, the group there was unbelievable. Like, I still speak to some of the players now. It was a good group. It was just, on a match day, something in me just wasn't. I don't think I was prepared or ready for it.
Something just made me think about something. You said you was one of the oldest.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of added pressure, like that you didn't have? Like, older pros that you could maybe go to and kind of speak to about certain things? Because if you're one of the oldest at 21, that squad is
it was a young squad.
You know what I'm trying to say? So
it
do you
was
think that is something that kind of like contributed to?
Yeah, I think back then I wouldn't have asked anyone.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have asked for advice.
Yeah.
I would have felt kind of probably embarrassed to go and ask for advice, you know, But like looking back at it now, I wish I did. You know, there was senior players in the team who have been played in the Scottish Prem for a long time, but I wouldn't have done it back then. I wouldn't have gone and asked. I wouldn't have called someone if I had to call someone and ask for their advice. I would have just kept it to myself and just get on with it.
And I'm assuming as well, like I could be assuming here, but battling the whole leaving England, going to Scotland, you've got your family there as well. Yeah. It's like you've got to kind of just plug away. Like you can't even I can't even go to anybody to ask them I can't wallow in this. I just got to get on. It's my family.
You have to. I mean? And like you'd sort of feel guilty, you know, because you would just get through training, like try and get through it, and then once training was done, you'd go home and they're thinking you're doing all you can, like to make sure you start on a Saturday, whereas I'm like, we'd go into the meeting Friday and I'd be like, oh, please don't let my name be starting. Please don't let my... And then if it weren't starting, if I weren't starting before training, I see I'm not starting tomorrow, I was like, yes, happy. Training, I'll be running around with a smile on my face, acting like, oh, why aren't you starting me? When in reality, not seeing my name in the starting 11 took a weight off your shoulders.
And I'm shaking my head because I'm just like, this is why we have to really shine the light on things like this, because I'm shaking my head because it's like, it's sad that this is something that you love, but in the same breath it's like, I don't want to be out there because of how you feel at that moment. You know what I mean? Like it's sad that there's going to be a lot of footballers out there that because we just see it as fans, we just see it as like they get paid, like just go out, do what you do, like, not taking into consideration that this person's a human being, you know? They have feelings, they have emotions. So from Hearts, went down to... So when did you actually leave West Ham then after that?
So I left West Ham in 2015, I think. So at the time, Ian Hendon was a first team coach at West Ham. And he rang me in that summer and was like, Macca, you're coming to the club that I'm going to, because me and Hendo were like, Hendo was really good for my career. Like he made me into a nasty target man, you know, because at times at times I wanted to think I was want to play centre back and stuff like that, and he made me into a proper like head it, be nasty. Like he was an old school type of like player as well, and a manager. He was good for me. So he rang me in the summer and was like, I'm not telling you where I'm going. You're coming to play for me. You'll be my number 9. Wicked. And I was like, Hendo, you got... Because I was going to go Cambridge at the time. I was like, you need to let me know. He was like, don't worry, it's in London. Because at the time, he was sort of like, not my mentor, but I would go to him when I was at West Ham, because he would always vouch for me to go over with the first team and be with the first team and go pre-season tour with them. And then... so I just trusted him. And then it come out a few days later that he got the Orient job. And me and Blair Turgott at the time both signed for him. And when I found out it was Orient, I was buzzing, you know. It's in London and it was a good move.
How was that, having somebody like that would vouch for you, that has your back in terms of like, how important was that for you as a growing up in terms of football?
I think I wouldn't be the type of player I was now if it wasn't for Hendo. Because like I said, I used to watch videos of him when he was young. Like he was in the is it John Sitton, the old Orient manager who was like the proper bring your dinner, and he would call players out and stuff. He was the captain of that team. So I think that made him how he was, and then he sort of made me how I was, because like I would like get my head split open for him. I would fly into tackles for him because you'd want to win for him, because a well done from Hendo
100%
meant a lot to you.
Definitely.
That's it's so important in that, because like I feel like growing up as a footballer, it's probably that person that kind of vouches for you, although you're not basically going to them all the time. They don't realise how much of an important role that they play.
100%. Yes, and if I'm honest, like it's important to have them people in your career, because remember, everyone's situation is different. Some
Yeah.
people have their parents, some people
Yeah.
don't have their
Real,
parents.
real.
Some people's parents take them training, some people have to go by themselves. So if you have someone like that in your club,
Yeah.
and that you're seeing regularly, that's gonna help you massively. I believe.
Yeah.
So, because I feel like even like before we had the roles of like mentors, like you know how everybody's got the title mentor now, like there were so many coaches that are at football clubs that were actually playing roles of mentors.
Yeah, 100%.
Before this mentor, do you know what I mean? Like,
you have to be.
Before that,
you have to be. Like in football, like as you said, it's not. For me, it's not just football; it's your life. These people teach you life lessons. It's not just things on the football pitch. I'm sure that he's taught you something. That you can remember forever. Not just on the football pitch. Like, do you get what I mean? It's in life. So this is why it's important to have the right people around you and to be in the right environments. Because it's not just shaping you to be the best footballer, it's shaping you to be a better person.
Yeah, 100%.
So
there's always people, and I feel like that's where it applies to football, but it also applies to life in general. Like, I'll never forget like one of my jobs when I started insurance. Shout out Tony Chambers, my old manager. Like, and I'm saying this because of what you said. Like, he taught me how to adapt. In that world, do you get what I'm saying? And trying to understand it, and then literally. When we got made redundant at the job, and then he moved to a new company, and I was happy, I was comfortable where I'm at. He's like, listen, come work for me.
Come over,
And I went there because of who he was. Do you get what I'm saying? Working for him, I would have done. As you said, I would have went through brick walls for him. Do you get what I'm saying? It's very important to have that.
Do you know what? It's just a trust, man. It's just you've built trust in a person. That's why, and I'm sure you had good times with that person before. That's why it's important to be around these people.
Yeah, it is. So how was Orient then under him?
Orient was very good. Obviously, the first season we started well. I think we went 5 wins on the spin. Like we was flying. And then me and Dean Cox, he was a big player for Orient. That's how he's a legend there.
Shout out Cox.
We both done our ACLs within, I think it was 7-8 games. So me and him was a big loss. And at the time, I think I had 5 goals in 7 games or something like that. So I was doing all right. And then that's when, like, once I'd done my ACL and I'd never had as a youngster, obviously at West Ham, when I had a stress fracture in my shin, like, it wasn't the same type of injury. This ACL was, I need surgery. Like, you're out for the whole season. So at the time I was like, I've never had this before. This is crazy. And then obviously realizing I was going to miss the whole season, and we had started so well, and we ended up, Hendo ended up getting sacked.
Right.
And I think we were just outside the playoffs as well, but he ended up getting sacked. And then, like I said, Coxie had his operation, and then we sort of just finished mid-table, and it sort of like petered out a bit, the season.
And let me ask you a question about that. So let's say, you've gone over there because of Hendo.
Yeah.
Then he gets sacked.
Yeah.
What is it like when you now don't have the person that's vouched for you, but now you've got to make an impression on another manager that probably has an opinion on maybe somebody? What's that like? Is that quite pressuring?
It was sort of okay because Andy Hessenthaler took it.
Okay.
And Hess is sort of the same sort of person as Hendo to me. Like Hess, I would, the same on the pitch. I'd run through brick walls for him, and he would. I reckon he would always vouch for me.
Yeah.
So when he took over, it was kind of frustrating because I weren't playing and I wanted to play for him. So he took the job until the start of next season.
Okay.
But what sort of messed me up was during the time when I was recovering from my ACL, I sort of went down, like I was going casino, I was drinking, I didn't do my recovery right. So Wesley might have seen I was putting up old Instagram pictures of me when I was before my ACL, I was I was fit, I used to run. And then I think I was weighing about 84 kilos before my ACL.
Yeah.
I didn't really do my rehab properly. I was going out the day I done my ACL. I went out because my head was gone. Didn't think it was anything bad, but obviously knew it was bad, but didn't think it was going to be an ACL. Went out. When I found out it was an ACL, I was just going out drinking. Like I'd tell my friends, like, it's on me, let's go. And I ended up coming back, started running towards the end of the season. So you're supposed to be out for 6 to 9 months with your ACL. Yeah, but I managed to get back in time for the last game of the season, which is crazy because I didn't do my rehab properly, how you're supposed to do it. And Coxie was doing his rehab properly. And now Coxie had to drop down the leagues because his knee was bad. And I ended up making it to the last game of the season. And I think I was weighing like 96 kilos. I've got a photo of it. And I made it to the last game of the season, come on for the last 30, 20 minutes. And then in my head, I was like, right, I'm fit now. Yeah. I'm going to enjoy summer. And I enjoyed summer a bit too much. Ended up going back for the next pre-season. And then me and Hess had a big falling out during the pre-season tour in Italy.
I wanted to go back a little bit. So you said you and Coxie done it together.
Yeah.
Did that help you? Or not?
Yeah, it did, because I had someone who was 2 weeks behind me on their he was saying, oh, should I be feeling this? And I'd be like, yeah, I felt that. But like again, like I said, he was doing his stuff properly, and I was in the gym just sitting there waiting to go home, really, and just wasting time, like to get out of the training ground.
The reason why I say that, I've been in that situation, not with the ACL, God forbid.
God
forbid ACLs, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But when I was at Charlton, I broke my 5th metatarsal.
Yeah.
And Jerome Thomas broke his 5th metatarsal.
Yeah.
Like, probably 2 weeks after me. And having him around, especially, he was older. He was in the first team. I was just trying to get into the first team. But because we was doing our rehab together, it helped me so much. I was with a first team player that was teaching me about football. Yeah. Like, so on and off the pitch, and we built a good relationship. Do you know what I mean? So when we came back together, like I think he came back before me. Yeah. But being injured together with the same injury, because you got to rehab together. Do you know what I'm saying? So we're literally doing. If we've got to go to the gym, we're going in the pool together. If we're doing it together because it's literally exactly the same injury. Yeah. It helped so much because you've got someone with you. Doing it alone, I think that's even crazier to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Because you gyms alone, you got to come in by yourself. Like, it's even like harder, I think. So that's why I wanted to ask you that, because for me it helped massive. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So can I ask, like, you said that you said partying a bit more and stuff like that. What do you think was the cause of that?
Because I couldn't play. Like, I think that was it, and I didn't have to be up for training. You know, in the morning. You know, we have a strict
dietary.
Yeah, like you're in. You can't be turned up to training like hungover and stuff, like, because you'll get found out. Yeah. Like, pretty soon you'll get found out. So I got a lot of time off because I couldn't do anything. So I'd be like to my friends, like, let's go out. We'd be going out. We'd be like, and I'm talking like. It couldn't have been good for my knee, but like, touch wood, I've never had any problem with my knee now. And obviously, like I said, Coxie done his rehab right, and he had to retire because of his knee. He couldn't come back from it. So it's I think I got given a
that's cool.
I got given a chance because if I get injured now, I'm doing everything right. I would never. At Eastleigh now, there's a player called Campy who's done his his ACL last season, and he didn't get back this whole season, and he's like a proper pro. He's on everything. He's doing everything right. His diet's right, and he didn't even make it back this season. So he's missed last season, the back end of last season, and this whole season. And I look at it like, I didn't even do it right, and luckily I got back the last game of the season.
It's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. And you know, like, for example, when players used to have like ACLs and those cruciate ligament injuries that you see on Championship Manager, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the way that the surgeries are now, like, people are recovering a lot quicker nowadays than they were back then?
I think it depends on the person, you know. Yeah. I just think because look, if Maka saying he wasn't doing his rehab right, and Coxie was, he just like quicker healer. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
To be fair, I've seen older pros and like managers and that who've had ACL surgeries, and their scars looks like they've been butchered. Whereas my scar, you wouldn't even be able to tell.
That's
I'm sure the surgeries gotten better.
Yeah,
course,
because I'm
yeah.
thinking the
So
technology and what
Yeah.
they've probably got now, that
Yeah.
they could probably do certain things to kind of put things in place in
Yeah.
terms
But,
of like
but the
having
thing is,
that.
I think the surgeries have got better, but I think the time period's the same though.
Yeah.
Do you get what I
Yeah,
mean? It's
yeah.
still 6 to 9 months.
6 to 9, yeah.
So it's not like cut down in
Yeah.
any way. I think it's the
It
the
must
person.
be the person. 'Cause
Yeah.
I saw it was Granit Xhaka that had something, right, and then he recovered
Quickly.
Yeah, quick.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
how did you
Of course,
recover
yeah.
from that?
Yeah.
But then again, like they've got the stats, the technology now is
Yeah,
different, and
yeah.
everything else is different now. The machines must be
Yeah,
different,
yeah,
and
everything.
everything. So they should come back quicker, but it don't necessarily work. Like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Look
Yeah,
at
I
that
mean-
machine that you gave me for my
yeah.
knee.
Complex.
Yeah, like
Complex,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh my
Yeah,
days.
yeah,
man.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So then you went on to Eastleigh.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
what was that like first term?
So the first season I went there, Hess left Orient
Yep.
and went into Eastleigh as assistant manager.
Okay.
Hendo rang me and said, "Go to Eastleigh. They're having a go. Like it's good." I didn't really want to drop down to the National League,
Yeah.
but again, I knew Hess was going in there, and I believed in what he wanted to do there.
Yeah.
So went there first season. First season was just sort of getting used to the National League because it's a big. It's you go away to some places that you don't think that they're like proper professional football clubs,
Yeah.
but it's tough. It's a tough league. So my first season, I think I was getting used to it. I picked up a groin injury.
Oh, wow.
I had osteitis pubis that whole season. I broke my foot that season. So it was a on and off season for me. I think I still got 11 goals in like 20 something games.
Yeah.
So the scoring ratio was good, but it wasn't a successful season as a team because the players we had, like James Constable, Raider Johnson, Cresswell,
Really should've
our
won,
team was Sam Togwell, our team was Graham Stack.
Yeah.
Like our team was a good team, and we just didn't achieve what we wanted to do. So we sort of wiped that season, and then the next season started again. Richard Hill was the manager in the first season.
Okay,
He
yeah.
left, gave it to Andy Hess. So Hess became the manager.
Yeah.
And then that season was a season where we changed shape, and everyone was just on the same page. Like we had as a team, we had a very good season.
Yeah.
Personally, I had a good season. I got 27 goals, and we got to the semi-finals and lost on penalties. But as a team, there was no egos in that team.
Yeah.
Everyone knew their roles. You know,
Yeah.
I played up front that season with Chris Zabrowski and Ben Williamson.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Shout
I kid
out
you
Ben,
not,
man.
yeah,
Financial advisor now. Come on,
sorting
Ben.
our pensions out
Come
for
on,
us.
yeah.
Yeah. So I kid you not, they did all my running.
Okay.
Like they would just say stay in the box. Hess left and went Dover halfway through the season,
Yep.
and Ben Strevens took over as the manager. And there was something about Strevs, like I prefer an old school manager who, if you're having a bad game, like he's gonna grab you up. Like I want people I want you to be scared of the manager a little bit. You know,
There's
like
gotta be some
like,
fear
I
there,
want to
like,
have a
out of
bit
respect.
of I
Fear and
want
respect,
to.
yeah.
I don't want to be nervous wreck, but like
Yeah.
if I'm having a bad game, like call me out,
Yeah.
throw something. Like that's how I prefer it because I think that comes from Hendo.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's how Hendo would have
yeah.
been. So Strevs was the complete opposite. Like
Yeah.
Strevs is a nice
Nice
guy.
person,
Like
yeah.
and
Shout out
and-
Shebs as well. We got to shout out Shebs.
Yeah, Shebs, yeah.
Come on.
And you just didn't want to lose for Strevs.
Right,
Like it would
okay.
upset you if you didn't perform well for him. Like
Yeah.
it would. I think so. The dynamic changed from Hess, who was a little like hard manager, not little,
Yeah,
he was
but
short,
yeah, I know
but
you mean,
yeah, like a hard manager. And then Strevs took over, and then again, it just everyone flipped and was like, right, we need to win for Strevs because we want him to have the job. He's a good manager. He's a good guy. And like I said, we ended up getting to the playoff semi-finals against Salford and ended up losing on penalties, which was devastating because the owner was going to Sunderland, so he was going to pull the budget back a little bit, and Strevs knew he was going to lose a few players because of how well everyone had done.
Yeah.
So I remember sitting with him and saying like, I'm going to leave because there's offers coming in for me. I was out of contract that I can't really turn down.
Yeah.
So it was gutting for him, and I always thought like I'm going to go back and play for Strevs eventually, but my time's running out soon. So I need to make sure.
But you know, it's interesting that you had two different managers with different ways of doing things.
Yeah.
But probably the fact of that, the respect that you had for both of them meant that you would want to do more for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
And I feel like sometimes we're at a point where, how do I put this? I haven't got kids, so obviously I can't say that I would do the same. But like some parents, they're like, no, you can't be too hard on the child and stuff like that. But for you, that might have been a way of that manager showing you that he cares.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
if he's used to just basically like roughing you up, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't come up to you, then it's like, oh, maybe he doesn't care. But that might be his way of showing that he actually does want you to succeed. Do you know what I mean?
always say this, like, a manager's job's not easy, man.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to control the whole change room, and that's hard.
Yeah.
But the best managers know when to put their arm around you.
Yeah.
When to shout at you.
Yeah.
When to do the right things to get the best out of you. That's the best managers for me.
Yeah.
Like the ones that know when to do the things that they need to do.
Yeah.
But it's not easy because you need to figure out who needs the arm round them. Who needs to be shouted at. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So this is why I always say I'm 50-50. Like I'm a player, but I understand managers too.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
I can't remember which manager it was. It could have been Hendo.
Yeah.
It could have been Tony Carr. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's always stuck with me. Is they said like, the moment I stop talking to you and
That means I
like
don't
criticizing
care.
you, it means I don't care.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
So if a manager's not talking to you,
At all,
forget about
Yeah.
it. That's how I think about it. So if a manager's on me, I'm like, okay, he knows I should be performing at this level.
Yeah.
But then off the pitch as well, he would talk to you, and then it's a different type of vibe that he's talking to you, so you know he cares. If a manager doesn't talk to you, I think you've seen it now, like when a manager don't talk to players, it means that they're done. Like I'm assuming.
No, but do you know what? It's interesting because for some people that's how they might take it into life now. Because imagine if that's all that you know, right? And then all of a sudden it's like you're coming out into the world, and how people usually deal with you, you're like, oh, well, maybe that person doesn't like me. They're not talking to me. But it might just be somebody's completely a different way. Do you know what I mean? If you're taking that in. So then you've gone from Eastleigh, and then correct me if I'm wrong. You signed was Solihull.
Solihull Moors. Yeah.
What was that like?
So obviously in that off season, I had a lot of clubs, in the league that were interested in bringing me in, and I ended up signing for Solihull. Just because I met Craig Cope there. Shout out to Cope. He's a very intelligent person. He's at Wimbledon now.
Okay.
And I went in and sat in the meeting, and then like he had a big like presentation for me, stats on me, and he was like, "This is how you're going to fit into our team."
Yeah.
I met the manager at the time, Tim Flowers. Showed me like all my aerial stuff, because at Eastleigh, the 27 goals I scored, 21 were headers.
Oh wow!
And obviously Solihull was a big physical team that put the ball in the box. So I was like, wow, this is. And obviously at the time, Solihull didn't have a nice stadium like they do now. It wasn't a great. It wasn't really
now.
like Solihull, like.
And it's the towns.
So it was just it was sort of a weird one. But if I'm being honest, like. I had two kids at the time. The difference in wages that were being offered to go back to the league or to go to Solihull, that was the main factor in it, because there were some league clubs who weren't even offering like League One clubs that weren't offering the same. And at the end of the day, we don't know. I don't know when I'm going to do my ACO again and be out. Touch wood. That was a big factor for me. So and I believed in the project. Because of Kopi, but I ended up going to Solihull, and my groins were absolutely. I was playing games where I couldn't even run. Again, I still feel like I scored an alright. I can't remember how much I scored. I think it was 10 or something like that in half a season. And then I sort of had a conversation with the manager at the time that was a bit. Can't really go into too much details about it. And then ended up getting sent on loan to Barnet halfway through the season, towards the back end of the season. And that was good for me, we ended up again getting to the playoff semi-finals. We lost to Notts County at the time, but really enjoyed Barnet coming back, scoring goals. We ended up getting into the playoffs, and a certain team didn't. So it was a bit
Not
of like
bad, yeah,
a
of
it was like
course.
a yeah, but there was no. I was seeing stuff like fans were saying I was homesick and all this, and I was like, I was enjoying my time at Solihull.
Yeah.
You know, the chairman looked
Yeah.
after me, he gave me a lovely apartment to stay in. Like there was nothing wrong. And I remember being on the phone to someone at the time, and I was like, I have no idea why this is happening.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I know.
Yeah.
I know, you know why.
So
Do you know what I mean? No,
Yeah,
like, it's not.
yeah.
It's not a like thingy, but
Yeah.
it's money.
yeah,
Remember, they're
yeah.
paying his wages. If
Yeah.
I can send him on loan for a couple
Yeah.
of months, then
Yeah.
I don't have to pay his wages.
Yeah, and obviously the COVID thing happened.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, so
Right.
then went to Barnet, done really well at Barnet. Ended up playing in the playoffs, done well, scored against Yeovil, got us through to the semi-finals. Lost to Notts County, and then the end of the season come, and I still had a year left
Right,
at
yeah.
Solihull.
Yeah.
So this is where things got like a little bit awkward because a new manager come in. I spoke to him on the phone, and he wanted me to stay, and
Yeah.
I said, "I've never met you, like we've never met, but I don't think I can come back because I have no idea why
Yeah.
I got sent out on loan in the first place."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we had the discussion back and forth. We ended up mutually agreeing
Yeah.
to terminate my contract, and then that's when I ended up speaking to Daryl McMahon and going signing for Dagenham on the same day.
Yeah. And what's that? What was that? What's Dagenham? What was Dagenham like? How was that like the environment there?
Dagenham's a weird one because I really enjoyed it.
He
Like,
met me, that's why.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
do you know what I'm saying?
I
You know what I mean?
thought-
That's
yeah.
like, I had to look after him there. You know what I mean?
I've never seen someone try to cross a ball and put it in the stands before. No, our team was good.
Do you know what was?
Yeah,
You know,
very good.
sorry to interject here, but you know what was frustrating when I used to come and watch you guys is that I just didn't understand why you wasn't higher
Yeah.
than you were.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
used to watch certain games, and I used to be like, what's going
Yeah,
on? Like
yeah.
you're dominating these teams,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they'll just do something stupid.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what was it?
Do you know what it is? We underachieved, definitely.
Yeah.
We definitely underachieved. The team we had, we should have definitely at least got into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or at least challenged a
Yeah.
little bit more than we did.
Yeah.
But I just think it goes like that sometimes, man. Like,
Yeah.
do you get what I mean? Like, there's nothing that more really that you can do sometimes. I think
Yeah.
for me, I love training. I love that club.
Yeah,
That club
yeah.
was for me. I enjoyed my time there. There
Yeah.
wasn't,
Yeah, yeah.
especially under Darryl, because that's the majority of the time was under Darryl. do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Okay.
So for me, I couldn't even tell injuries.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, we lost a lot. Yeah.
Like there was I remember that your first
Yeah,
season,
yeah.
like, we had like 8 man out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So that contributed.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it happens, man. Look, you see it in the higher leagues, like
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
like, do you know
for
what I'm
real.
saying? Like, look,
Yeah,
it's Chelsea,
Yeah,
even though they
yeah,
brought it back,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
bro,
Yeah.
do you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
How did you feel being up front at Dagenham? Did you enjoy it there?
Yeah, like I said, I really enjoyed it. You know, like we used to play some good stuff,
Yeah.
but it was just frustrating because we'd come off games and we'd lose, and we
Yeah.
played so well. And I think the first season did we just miss out on playoffs. Just
We went
missed
on
out on
mad run,
playoffs.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like 10 games.
yeah. So that was frustrating. And then the next season we brought in a few more players, and then again, like I think the first season I got 17, 16 goals in 30 something games. Then the second season I got 18 in 30 something games.
I've
Yeah.
got it here. I think it was 19. 18,
Yeah.
18.
18 and
16 and 18.
Yeah, in 36. So
Six,
1
yeah.
and 2 for
Yeah,
Dagenham.
exactly.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. But it's so annoying because the team we had.
Yeah.
If that team's, I would fancy that team to win the league. If we went back now, had that team and played in the National League this season without
Yeah.
the Chesterfields, the Notts Counties,
Yeah.
I'd say we'd be favourites to go up
Serious.
because our team was very good. But like Wesley said, sometimes it just doesn't play out how you plan it.
Did you have a good unit in terms of like friendship, in terms of like on and off the field?
Yeah, so I think that's where Dagenham's a club where I made probably like in football. I always say you don't make friends in football.
Yeah.
Like because you're with someone for 2 years, you'll be best friends.
Yeah.
Like you could be best friends with someone for 2 years,
Yeah.
leave the club, and used to probably ring each other once every month, and
Yeah.
don't see each other anymore. I've been on holidays with boys and that, and then now I don't even like speak to them. Yeah, you see them on Instagram and give them a well done emoji or something like that. But you know, at Dagenham, I made like some like Westy, one of them. Like we talk probably every other day on the phone. Callum Reynolds, like we made some good friends there. Josh Walker, Junior Marias, like people who I'd message outside of football. You know, so our group was good. We had no egos, nothing like that.
And even saying that, like, you're making me think, man. Like, that's why football's ruthless, man.
Yeah.
Imagine being with someone every single day.
And Angelo Balana,
I
was with him. Yeah, that's not. And Kama,
like, but it makes you think because you're with these people every day.
Yeah.
You might have to go up north to go to a club up north.
Yeah.
You don't see them every day. And you still don't. This is why. For me, the people that I still talk to or I'm still in contact with, they're actually my friends. Do you get what I'm saying? Because, like, as Maka just said, like, we've been playing for years.
Yeah.
And we've met so many players, met so many managers, met so many people, and we still don't talk to them. So if you stay in contact with someone, that's actually your friend.
I would say, like, there's probably about 20 footballers who I would say
in your whole career,
in my whole career. But maybe even less. Maybe even less.
For me, it's less.
The majority came from Dagenham. I was there for 3 years, and our group was good. Man.
And that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 clubs. And about 20. You got squads of like 20, 23 plus.
And don't get me wrong, at the time when you're at that club, you'll be like, that's my boy. Like, me and him talk every day. I'm with him every day. We're doing stuff outside of football every day. Once you leave, it's crazy how...
I just think as well, like, think about everyone's situation is different. Some boys have families, some boys don't have families. Do you get what I mean? Some boys are going through things and some boys don't. So when you leave and you're not seeing that person, you don't know that person as much. If you don't stay in contact with that person, you're just gonna assume that they're okay. Do you get what I'm saying?
But you know, it's like in the 9 to 5 world. Like you'll be working somewhere, and that's your guy or your girl. You know, you go to lunch together and everything like that. They move positions, and you're like, we're gonna stay in contact, but you don't have it. Like it's like I can't like. The time that I used to see you work is like when we were family. Now,
I think as guys we don't really make friends. I've got my group of friends who I've been friends with since we were young, and that's it. There's not really anyone else who, even if we meet someone new and they're not in our group chat. They're not. So I think we don't really make friends. I think as a guy, once you're at a certain age, that's it. You don't. You might see someone out and then
acquaintances.
They're not. You don't really have friends.
Your friends, but they're not. You know what I'm saying?
Like if we went on my call list now for the past 2 weeks, it'll be the same names. It's just the same, probably 6, 7, 8 names of guys who I would speak to every day. Like, what's going on? What's happening?
It's mad when you think about it like that, because I think about how many clubs you've been to, and when you say that, and I'm just using it as like myself. I'm like, you know what? Like when I think about my workplace and I think about the different jobs that I've had and the different turnover in terms of people, like there's people that I'm like, wow, there was one period where like we'd go out on a weekend. You get what I'm saying? But now it's just like we won't go out. Like. So let's bring it home in terms of like going back to Eastleigh. How did that come about, and why did you want to go back?
So again, I the back end of Dagenham, I got sent on loan to Chesterfield. And obviously really enjoyed Chesterfield. We lost in the playoff finals to Notts, which was devastating. And then after that game, I was like, right, it sounds kind of crazy, but I'm not allowing other people to affect what happens for me going forward. Not saying that anyone at Chesterfield affected or at Dagenham or anything affected me. I was like, I'm going to do all I can do to make sure I don't go through this again. Because even though I didn't come on at Wembley, when we lost, like that was the worst.
Devastating.
So I was like, right, I'm going to do all I can now to. So me and my boy Quaid, I was grafting in the off season. Like I was like, this is it. Like I'm 30 now. Like as a striker, you can always score goals, but you know, this could be the last contract where I have the opportunity to get another big contract. You know, so went back to Eastleigh. Obviously, I met the manager there. He was Bradbury, good manager. Enjoyed it, and the group again at Eastleigh again is a really good group. And then the ambition was to get to the playoffs. Then I think after 6, 7 games, the manager got sacked because we hadn't been winning. and like I said, I feel the fittest, the sharpest I've ever been.
Yeah.
And I found a team again that plays to my strengths, you know, by putting the ball in the box,
Yeah.
and having people that run with the ball and feed the strikers, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the season was a great season, you know, 35 goals I think it was in 40 something games, which is, if you told me I was going to get 20 goals, that was my aim, to get 20 goals, and I'd gone past that early doors.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a great season, and you know, like I said, I feel good. I feel like I can go and do it again, you know. Nothing can stop me doing it again.
And you got called up to England C, didn't you?
Yeah.
So how was that?
It was good. We met up in Wales. You know, the whole setup was good. Like it was fun. Like you meet all new people. The manager there, you know, you have to go and spend time with your roommates and then give a presentation about your roommates. So it was really good to get to know people. Yeah. So and then the game itself, I thought it was just gonna be a friendly. It's a friendly.
Yeah.
Like we got a league game on Saturday. But them Welsh players,
Hey,
Yeah,
that was
they
like,
weren't
it was.
around.
I'm sure
Yeah.
they sent their rugby team.
What?
No, I'm talking about, like, they were physical,
Aggressive,
like,
yeah.
and because you're going into unknown, and like I said, like before the game, we're saying protect yourself. Like we all go back to our clubs. Some players are in the playoffs. Some people are fighting for relegation. Like make sure you look after yourself because you're key players for your teams.
Yeah.
If you can, put the video of the tackle right now. And they were going in studs up. And then at halftime, I was like to the boys, like, listen, boys, protect yourself. At the end of the day, like, I know you're representing your country here, like our country. This is big. Don't get injured.
Yeah.
Don't make sure, because some of you are out of contract and some of you are good and you're going to get a good move after this. But them Welsh boys, to be fair, get some of them over into our league. They're
really about
they're
it.
on it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to play against them. I wouldn't have 35 goals if I was playing against that back five every week.
And this is going to be a good segment to go into the second half, because we're at injury time now. So this is going to be a good section to go into the second half, because you said something about injuries, and I think like injuries in terms of the mental health and the well-being side of things and how that is. So we're going to take a 5-minute break. And then we'll be back with the second part where we talk about the mental health and well-being. Paul, your story, listen, I'm listening to it and I'm just like, there is so much questions that I've got to ask. You know what I mean? Like, so in the next 5 minutes we'll catch up again, people.
Yeah.
For anybody out there that may have heard something in the first half, you might be struggling, you might need that safe space, you might need that support. Feel free to contact the numbers that we've got on the screen here. Like I say, we always talk about basically encouraging people to speak. So those are the numbers there. Get in contact, find that help. Yes, people, we are back with top goal scorer, Paul McCallum. We're back. So listen, we're in the second half now. We go into the mental health and well-being side of things, and there's so much that I heard just in general that firstly I want to say that I'm proud of you, man, because there's a lot of stuff that like you've gone through, and it's like we just see it as fans and we take it for granted, but we're not understanding that like you're going through things like deep, you know what I mean? So no, I'm proud of you and thank you for allowing yourself to be vulnerable. So the first question I have for you really is, what does mental health and well-being mean to you personally?
Oh, I think when you hear when I hear mental health, if I'm going back a while, because obviously things are different now for me. If you said something, I'm struggling with mental health, I'd be like come on, like it's not like that. Like get a grip. I think that's how. I think especially as guys, get a grip. Like it's not that deep, because even like with my close group of friends in our group chat, if someone says anything that's a bit vulnerable, they're getting peppered all night. But you don't really know like what is actually
going on.
Because I wouldn't say to you, how are you? Like, how are you feeling? How's this? Because I don't think I ask my friends like, how was your day? How are you? Because like you sort of feel too vulnerable, but I think it's becoming more accepted now. You know, to talk for us, like especially as footballers, like to talk about how you're feeling and how things are affecting you. And luckily, I've only had a few things, you know, in my career that have affected me. But back then, I wouldn't talk to it with anyone. I wouldn't even ask my best friend, you know. I probably wouldn't even tell my partner at the time about it, you know. You'd keep it to yourself because you don't want to seem like you're weak and vulnerable, you know. That's how I'd look at it. But now, obviously, like I said, it's much more accepted, you know, to talk about it, and I think it's much better for us to talk about it, because we've seen people who don't speak about it and then they end up doing, you know, something
which is detrimental. And I think it's interesting that you say that as well, because of the fact that, like, I feel like even some of the lingo that we use as guys, like, you said, like, it's something I was like, wow, I never used to really ask, how are you? It's always, what's going on? Or, are you all right? And those things are just quick closed questions. You all right? It's like, yeah, I'm good.
That is the
what's
answer.
going on?
Good. But
What's going on?
Be good.
You know what I mean? And you don't follow up.
Yeah,
you know,
because me being honest with, like, how I am as a person, if I asked one of my friends, like, how are you, and they started going into something deep, I don't know how I would react. Like, my first initial thought, I know it sounds bad, and it is bad, I'd probably laugh, like, and I'd be like, ugh, like, and I know that's terrible, because he's telling me something that's actually deep, and I think that's why we well, the majority of us don't say anything that makes us look weak, like I said, because if one of my friends comes to me and is like, I'm really struggling, like, at work and like this, I'll be like, like,
do you know one thing as men, I think we why we don't make ourselves vulnerable is, I think it's because you don't want someone to use that against you. Do you know what I'm saying? So, for instance, like, not everyone does it, but some people do. Some people might be vulnerable to you and tell you the situation. Get through that time, but then that person uses that against you. So you have an argument or something. The other day you was telling me that, look at you, man, you're not even, do you get what I'm saying? That's what I think as men, that's where our defense mechanism comes into play, because subconsciously we think, shall I even say it? Because I don't even know. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
but do you know what also I think it adds to it as well, and Paul just said it, like, it's like, sometimes there's we need to understand, and we need to kind of not ridicule our friends for not being able to have the capacity to take that on,
100%,
because you might not be emotionally intelligent enough to even have somebody come to you and actually say to you, do you know what, bro, I'm struggling, and to take it in, because you might not even dealt with your own issues or your own dramas. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for somebody to come to you now and say to you, do you know what, bro, I'm struggling, when you know deep down, like, you've probably been going through stuff, but you just brush it under the carpet and say, I'm going raving. Do you get what I'm saying? Like,
I think before recently, I wouldn't tell anyone how I'm feeling. I wouldn't say, like, no matter if you're the closest person to me, I would not, because if I told you how I'm feeling tonight, I might be like, what have I done? Like, why did I tell him that? He probably thinks I'm some weak guy now. Like, you think like that. But like I said, my group of friends now, like, you know, we've started calling each other out on things and, like, going for walks and that and talking, because like, people, you don't realize your friends who a lot of people will know me, like, I'm probably one of the loudest in the change rooms. I'm always joking and that. But there's been times where I'm like, let me just put this face on, and I'm in the car driving home for an hour in silence, like, thinking about things that I'm not going to tell anyone, and you just get on with it.
And you know what, it's so important that you're saying that, and it's great that you're saying that, because I think especially in the footballing industry, right, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because you guys have been in multiple different change rooms for different clubs, right? It's always kind of deemed as, like, the banter. Like, it's always just banter, in it. Like, everything's banter. You might actually be saying something and somebody might laugh about it, like, and then everybody else jumps in, and then what it does for some of us, it doesn't stop you from feeling the way you're feeling, but you're like, do you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna jump in with the banner and start laughing at myself. Do you know what I mean?
And then you end up battering yourself, like, and then trying to make sure that you're making a joke about it rather than anyone else, because you'll walk out of the change room and be like, they're going to be talking about that now. Like, I'm nervous. So I'll go back in the change room and be like, blah, 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 blah. And then everyone's laughing and you feel like, you
feel like you've escaped it now. Because
100%.
even you get, like, even the man them on road, right? You get the man them like I've been on road, been known as the money man. The guy that's always got the money. And then all of a sudden, there's a drought. But because they're known for being the money man, right? they still feel like they've got to have that persona. They still feel like they've got to have that.
Yeah.
So where they're like spending money, we don't know where that money's gone. That might even be credit cards now. Do you get what I'm saying? Because of the fact that they've had that persona. And like for you, if you've always been known as the funny one, the joker and everything like that, it's like, Paul's going through something. And then for you to take that on, it's like, no, but these men know me as the guy that's always happy. Like, how am I going to even be able to talk to somebody like that?
Yeah.
But you know, you said banter, like it's making me think because, like, obviously, you know, we banter a lot. Like in the football world, if you can't take it, it can break you. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. But for me, I said I'm involved in it, but I'm only involved in it until it starts hurting someone's feelings.
Yeah.
I'm not involved in banter to hurt anyone's feelings.
Yeah.
So it could be something silly, like you missed the shot in training and Wesley kick, cross. Do you know what I'm saying? Wesley, that cross was mad. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but I can take it. But you need to know who you're bantering.
Yeah.
Because
100%.
as you said, like if I'm bantering Paul, and he goes home and thinking about that could ruin his whole night. Do you know what I'm saying? So the older I've got, is the more I think about it now, I need to assess who I'm I'm involved in certain things. Because do you know what I'm saying?
There's a young boy, he won't mind me saying his name, Oscar Rutherford. At EC now. Me and Jake Taylor made it like sort of our like duty to banter him, keep bantering him, stay on him, stay relentless on him, because we know he's probably gonna go much higher. But then, you know, like, we'd be on him all week, and then I'd drop him a text. Hey, you know, I'm only bantering. Yeah. Like, I'm doing this because I really appreciate you. Like, I've texted him, and he's like, like, I know. And we'd be relentless on him because we knew he could take it, and we've explained, like, we like you. Like, we like you. We used to come in driving. He would get in the car in the morning with me and Tails, and we'd be like, right, just making stuff up about him. Like, and then we say we're going to spread it in the change room. But I think he appreciated it because, you know, we spoke to him like out of it and said, I'm doing this because, like, I think the message I said to him was like, because I know you're going to be a good player and I want to build your character because your character's important. Like, we really like you. Like, don't worry, we're just messing about. Like, and like, I think once we told him that, I think he appreciated it more because he used to just roll with it but if you're looking from the outside in, you'd probably think like, they're being horrible. Being horrible. But he knew like we had him.
But the thing is, there's some people that do that don't send messages.
Exactly.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So if they could feel exactly the way that you're feeling and say it's only banter, but that message don't come. So that person might think, no, these guys are bullying. You know what I'm trying to say?
You need to make it clear. I think I think if you asked him honestly, he knew that.
No, of course.
It's because we appreciated him.
My thing is like, there's a lot of players that don't message.
But that's why it's so important to when you are doing these things and you're having these conversations, like, make sure you know the people that you're dealing with.
100%.
Because like there's times when I was in secondary school, like there was I was a big guy in secondary school, and there was one guy in particular that like he could get away with the fat jokes. But like I know it's jokes. But then in the same breath, if he heard somebody say something about me, I could defend myself, but he'd still switch anyway. Do you get what I'm saying? But because he's like, no, don't talk to my brethren like that. Although he's making the same joke, but I'm his brethren. Our relationship is different. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think it's very important that you have that.
There was younger players in the team that we wouldn't even banter with because like we don't know how they're gonna take it. But like I said with Oscar, he was good, man. He's gonna miss me, Oscar.
But
you're gonna miss me.
That you did that, bro, because like for some people it's like you're bantering and it gets to a point where you don't know how somebody feels. But the fact that you've actually taken that time out, that's good. In terms of like the football side of things, and like as we said, the football environment is very much like
you have to be strong, man. You have to be strong. Trust me.
Very toxic.
Have you had a period where, like, at any of the certain clubs where you had to be mentally strong, like you've had a, like, I don't know, injury or sending off or anything in particular that?
So when I got sent to Wimbledon on loan, it was my, you know, I obviously went Rochdale the year before but didn't play, so I went to Wimbledon on loan, and Wimbledon's a close club to me. It's like 15 minutes away, so I was buzzing, you know, like I've got people who support Wimbledon and stuff like that. I went on loan, and the first game of the season we played Morecambe, and I got sent off
First game?
Straight elbow, yeah. Sent off on my debut, Football League debut. Yeah, because I was having a tough game. It was a tough game. Morecambe away is a tough place. So yeah, I got sent off, and I remember walking into the change room, and I thought, my career's done. Like, I remember sitting there with a towel on my head crying, like not crying, but like in tears, because I'm thinking they're gonna come in, the older players in that team, and batter me, you've cost us a game, even though we was 3-0 down. Like, you've cost us. You're young, you're naive. Like, you come from West Ham and think all of this. So I'm sitting in the change room. There's like 20 minutes to go with a towel on my head. Like, my career's done. My career's over. Like, I'm getting sent back because it was only a month loan. So 3 games, I'm done. So I was only there for 4 games. So the month was done. Wow. Luckily at the time, everyone come in like, it's all right, like, don't worry, like, it's all good. Like, there was good senior pros in that team that looked after me. And then luckily Neil Wardley, the manager at the time, said, don't worry, like, we're going to extend your loan for another month. So we ended up seeing out, just training for the month with them, and then the following month I ended up getting player of the month in League Two, and then he ended up getting manager of the month. So I was like, okay, buzzing. Like, and I scored a few goals. Like, I got them out the relegation zone at one stage, because of the goals that I was scoring. So it was good. Like, I feel like I repaid my faith. You know, that he put into me. But at the time in that changing room, that was the worst part of my career to that point. Like, because I thought it was done. And I know it sounds silly, like, you got sent off, like, but yeah.
I get it, man. Like I said, but what sticks out to me is that sometimes we worry about things we don't need to worry about. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, we always like, and it's not just football. It could be something like a parking ticket. It could be, do you know what I'm saying? Oh man, like, how am I gonna pay? Like, it could be financial.
Anything.
It could be anything, and this is why it's important to try not to worry about these things. Like, because you could be putting stress on you, on your mind, on your body, when you don't need to. Do you know what I mean? Like, 100%. But I think that again, it comes with maturity. Like, I know now, you definitely wouldn't have done that. If you get sent off now, I know you're going to be able to deal with it because you've gone through that. So sometimes it's good that you do go through it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Do you think as well, part of that might have been at the fact that because you said you know you meant it, like, you're kind of blaming yourself because, you know, like, why did I do that?
Like, but like, I was having a tough game. It was a tough game. Like I said, Morecambe. You played Morecambe away. It's not easy.
Right,
and I was losing all my aerial duels. I was getting beaten up. I looked like a kid out there.
Right, okay.
And then there was just a ball that come in the air, and I've give it the old look. And I've gone with my arm up, like, and caught him. And then there's the red card, and I remember it just being dark. And I was like, oh wow. Walked into the change room, and I was like, why did I do that? Like, just lose the game. You've lost. Like, now you've made it worse for yourself because you're going to get a fine. You're going to get 3-game suspension. You look like everyone was watching that was your Football League debut, and you got sent off. Like, so I was like, at the time, honestly, I thought my career's done. Even though I had another 3 years at West Ham or 2 years on my contract, I was like, my career is done. Like, it's finished. So,
how old were you at that time?
I think I was 18.
18.
So it would have been 18, 19.
So this is really important for, like, anybody young that's watching it, whether you're in football or whether you're not in football, because I think when we're younger, like, I would say you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I would say is that what you done was out of frustration. And a lot of times in life when we're younger, we do a lot of reckless stuff out of frustration. Yours just highlighted a bit more because you're on a football field. Do you get what I'm saying? But for somebody else that's not a footballer, their frustration might be taken out by doing something like punching a wall, or do you get what I'm saying? I think it's very important that if you're younger and you're watching this, like, understand that there are going to be times where things are not going to go your way, right? And there are going to be things that you do that are going to be like, well, why did I do that? But it's really about taking accountability and learning from that. Because as you said, afterwards, you got player of the month the next time. Do you know what I mean? Was there any, during that period, like, I know obviously you came in with the towel, and you said that you was obviously close to tears and stuff that. Like, did you have anything like after the game, like going home? Did you feel anything like mental wise that you felt like, do you know, this is just, I'm not in a good place? Or
no? So like I said, when we got on the coach, it's obviously a long drive back from Morecambe. The pros in the team just got round me, and you know, and then 20 minutes into the coach journey, like I'd forgotten about it. It was all right. You know, you get messages from people who are watching, like, oh, don't worry. And then I was just like, it happens. I was more worried the fact that what I was going to do now, because my loan's going to be finished and I won't get to play another game. And that could have been my last time ever playing. And luckily, like I said, the manager did extend my loan, and that turned out well.
No, definitely, man. Like, it's so important to have good people around you.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say that.
I swear, like, you know, like, it's just, I think about it, man. Like, and I said, I've been blessed enough to have people that I can go to, not just in football, outside of football, like, but in football, like, especially when I was coming through at Charlton, all the older ones I could go to. The Jerome Thomases, the Jason Ewells, the Luke Youngs, the Chris Powells. I was blessed to have that. But do you know, the thing is, I realised that there's a lot of people that don't. And what do they do? Do you get what I'm trying to say? That's why, like, being one of the oldest players in the team now, I try to
be a long way. By
the way. Hey, Uncle Westy. This is what they call me now. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what I've made, Uncle Westy. So I try to be understanding, man, because I've been like the youngest. Do you know what I'm saying?
Let me answer your question though. Did you used to go to them? Like, did you feel comfortable?
Oh man, they made me feel comfortable. So even when I got injured with my foot, I was going to them. They was like, the same like Macca. They was like, don't worry, like you're out for 3 months. When you come back, you're gonna get straight back into. And that helped me get through that period as well. But this is the thing. I understand that there's a lot of people don't have that. So I know how grateful I was. I'm very grateful that I had people around me, because I know not every club's like that. Not every change room is like that. Not every even the staff and management. If you have the right mix, it helps the player massively.
And I think that that's why it's so important whether you go from professional level to grassroots. Like, that is so important that people have that in general, that safe space to know that, you know what, I've made a mistake, but like, we're as a team.
100%.
Is there anything in your football career that you would say, like, things that happened within football that contributed to, because there's good mental health and there's poor mental health, that contributed to maybe like poor mental health? Is there anything that happened within your career?
I would say when I done my ACL at Orient, because obviously, like I said, I'd done my ACL. I was single at the time, and I ended up going out. I'm probably talking about 3-4 times a week, just drinking because in my head we were going to get promoted. I was on 5 goals in 7 games. The club was good. We're going to get promoted. I'm going to be in League One. And then boom, the ACL happened, and then literally, I think I was just drinking as much as I was going out, drinking, like, I'm talking getting battered. So like, I was leaving clubs and people are going to work and I'm thinking, it doesn't bother me. And then I'd go to training, like I said, not do my rehab, sort of like hide away. The day was done, I'd go home, sleep, and then who's out? It's on me, sort of thing. And then that led to me going casino. And then I lost a good amount of money in about 5 minutes in the casino one time in Westfields. And I remember sitting there. This was the crazy part. I remember sitting there and I couldn't get out of the barriers because like I'd done everything. Couldn't get out of the barriers. So I sat there like shaking, like my heart was racing, shaking, like surreal, like that didn't happen. Like, what are you doing? And then I remember the saddest part about that was like, I remember thinking, in 2 hours I'm gonna get paid. So I'll just sit here for 2 hours because it was the payday the same day. And I was like, and that's gonna that's I was on good money at the time. I was thinking that's all right. Like I'll just save up again and get that all back. But looking back at it now, like going into the casino and I'm talking that it was a good amount in. I'm talking about like 5-6 spins, you know, at the casino wheel, and then halfway through it, my card's getting blocked. I'm ringing up my bank. Don't block my card. Like I'm getting the money out, like, and I'm moving money, lost it, and I remember. And it's crazy because a few of my friends have done the same thing, like with gambling. Maybe not in the casino, but like on horses, virtual dogs. I feel like if you're not as mentally mature in football as when things are going bad and going wrong, it will spill over into your real life, and then that will go out of control. So I've seen it, a lot of people injured, struggling, and then in their life they're going out. How many injured players just go out and just do that?
Yeah. Do you know what's mad? Like, I've got a gambling story. I need to tell this. I'm gonna try and make it short. So when I was at Charlton, like I was a pro. I think I was injured as well. I was injured. Yeah. And I just got into gambling with my cousin. We used to gamble together. Started at bookies. Then we started going casino. Used to go casino in Holborn, Casino, Grosvenor. I was injured, so I wasn't at football. And at 2 p.m. we went to the casino. 2 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon, and we said to each other, "Listen, we're gonna win £200 each, and then we're gonna leave." Yeah. Within half an hour, it was £200 each up. We looked at each other like, "You're looking at me now." Yeah. We said, "No, we gotta go for it."
Yeah. Go for it.
I'm not going nowhere. Yeah. Lost that 200. Lost. Then we was probably £500 down. Then we was probably £1,000 down. Then, before I knew it, I got paid on that Friday. I lost everything. Yeah. I had £100 left. We left the casino. I walked outside, and I felt sick. Physically. I thought I was gonna vomit, because I'm thinking, I've got to pay bills now. Yeah. Like, I've got to pay bills. Like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna tell my dad? What am I actually gonna do? So I looked at my cousin and I was like, I've got £100 left, man. Like, let's just go in there and try and win this money back. But let's just be sensible. Yeah. Anyway, we went back in and won all my money back. Wow. That day is the day I stopped gambling. Wow. I promise you, that day is when I stopped, because all the emotions and all the feelings that I felt, I didn't want to ever feel that again. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm at the point where I went Vegas and didn't gamble. I stopped, because I'm like, I can't be like in that place I can't be there again. Yeah.
Did you go again? After like you had that experience, did you go again?
Deep breaths.
Yeah, I did, but I would always tell myself I'm doing one spin. Okay. So my favourite bet that I used to do, I got myself excluded from all the casinos. I went and they take a picture of you and that. But my favourite bet now, if I go casino now and do a bet, my favourite bet is £1,000 second dozen. Okay. I either win or lose. Yeah. And then I'm out. Okay. So online I would probably do like 100, 200, but in the casino, you just want to get the chips, and then even if I win that £3,000 is what it would pay back, I would probably leave it on second dozen, because in my head I've walked in there thinking I'm gonna lose £1,000, so I can just lose it.
Gambling, like the reason, like, because obviously it's roulette you play, and roulette I played as well, so it's the same game, and it wasn't the winning and the losing. I just loved playing it. There's something different when it hits on your number or hits in that doesn't. It's a different feeling. Like, but there's a lot of man that gamble, bro. Like,
do you know what it is? It's because, like, for some of us that can go in there, we know what we're prepared to lose. I can go in there and know, okay, cool, I can lose this, and I'm cool with it. But there's some people that go there, don't know what they're cool with losing. Lose it and be like, nah, I need to win this back now.
My friend Christian, we all went casino once, and like we're playing with like 200, 300s. This guy put £20 on red, won £20, and that was him done. Buzzing over the moon. And I was like, he's up. Grow up. Like, what? And he was like, I just doubled my money. And it's free money, and I don't know when back then, I don't know when would have been enough, because if I went in with £1,000 and I got it to 10,000, I'm like, I can lose this 10,000. I'm only £1,000 down. So let me try and let me put £6,000 on this, and then it misses. I'm like, all right, I'm still up.
Do you know what's that's mental health as well, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Like it's but I was saying to Kerry, like, this is why, like, the PFA and all these things, they come to us every year. They have to tell us about certain things because there's people that's in deep, bro. And I said, I'm blessed enough to get out of it, and you're blessed enough to get out of it. But there's some people that put their house,
Stuck
the
in it.
mortgages
Stuck in
up,
it.
and
Yeah.
they'll do anything to chase their money or to get their money back because they're in a deep hole.
Yeah.
So it's a big thing, bro.
Yeah.
So even like experiences like that, do you feel like as your football career evolved, you got a better understanding of what things you might have been struggling with back then in terms of like mental health and well-being?
Yeah, I think like when you grow, you have a different outlook on certain things now. And I realize like when you're younger, when things are going wrong for you on the pitch or around the changing room, training ground, it spills over into we had a discussion off camera, like if I play bad, I'm gonna go home and take it out on my partner. And it's got it's got nothing to do with it. Like you know, like we planned to go for dinner. Yeah. We've lost. Yeah. I'm not going. Yeah. You sit on the sofa. Yeah. Like so now I think it's as you get older, you need to realise you need to separate it. Because what you do on the pitch and off the pitch, as long as you ain't being detrimental, like drinking and doing drugs and it's affecting you, you need to separate them. Because if you live full time in the football mindset and things go wrong, that's your whole life. You need to be able to separate it. And I think once you go through some experiences and get a bit older, you realise like, what, I cancelled dinner with her because I didn't score. I remember Westy could remember there was a period where I didn't score, and then I would do something off the pitch. These lot would be like, "You idiot! Don't do that." Yeah. I'd score on Tuesday, and then I would revert back to what happened. Didn't score, go back in. Nah, it's done again.
Right.
So
it's crazy, and the reason why I keep on alluding to football and like the 9-to-5 world and just like the outside world, like the reason why I keep, because it's about people understanding as well. Like you see, like within football, it's a sport that a lot of us, we all love. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But there's a lot of stuff within that you can relate to people that are not footballers. Like Arsenal when I was younger, Arsenal used to lose. I'm not watching Match of the Day on a Saturday, and I'm not going out Saturday. That will ruin my weekend. Like Arsenal losing used to ruin, and I think to myself now that how did I allow watching that and a defeat to stop me from that?
No,
I'm not going out.
It's deep, man. It's deep, and as you said, it's every level, man. It doesn't matter if you play football, if you don't play football. It's because you love football. You know what I'm trying to say? Like we want the best for our teams, we want the best for ourselves. So I've said it before as well, like I had to separate because it's not fair. Like I've got kids, like I'm coming home and they you don't want to do nothing, so you're messing with your kids' lives. I'm not gonna allow this to mess with my kids' life. I said I'll pick it back up with when I get in on Monday, or I'm not. As I said, I don't just put it down, but I'm just not gonna let it affect my whole life. You know what I'm trying to say? Like I don't think it's fair. It's not fair. It's not fair to do that to your family and your friends, man. It's not fair.
Did you ever have you ever been in a situation where you've had a teammate that like you could see firsthand that this person's like really struggling?
So one of my close friends, to be fair, like it got to the stage where I'd nearly beat him up 3 times on the pitch because he was and then until we had the vulnerable conversation, I didn't realise what was going on. And I think that made me realise, like, in myself that I need to be vulnerable as well with my close friends because they're going through the exact same things that I'm going through. So we had a call recently about a couple months ago where we just spoke for about 2 hours on the phone, and then afterwards, like, it was like, so glad we had that chat. Like, we're both going through the same things. Like, we need to realise as men, like, we're all probably going through the exact same things.
A lot of us.
Like, there's probably a list of things that we're all going through, but we just don't let ourselves be vulnerable enough to do it, because like I said, it's a pride thing, and it's and you want to be masculine and all of that. And I feel like for footballers as well, there is that added pressure, and especially because the majority of footballers, correct me if I'm wrong, like, will be the breadwinner. Do you know what I mean? So if you're the breadwinner, and you're the one providing and bringing everything home, that there's a pressure on your shoulders as well. So there's like,
you and to some degree, I feel like and we're getting better at it, but to some degree, it's like society sometimes isolates footballers from being allowed to have emotions. Do you know what I mean? Like you're like you're supposed to just get on with it because you're getting paid. And it's like no. Like I think we had this conversation like that you're a human being first. And I think on top of that as well, it's like for some of the footballers that we see that go into different things where we're like, oh, they started doing this or they started doing that. Maybe for some of them, like, have an injury, don't have a club, get released or everything like that. For them, it might be a thing of where it's like, this is kind of all I know. To be quite frank, this is all I know. And now this is all I know. On top of the fact that I don't speak to anybody anyway, I don't allow myself to speak to anybody because I don't want to appear vulnerable. You go down this downward spiral.
100%. Even something that you touched on, like, remember, usually a footballer's contract's 2 years. It's only 2 years. So you're constantly under pressure. Because you're trying to earn another contract. And as you said, you can get injured. There's so many things that could happen in that time period. Do you get what I mean? So these things it goes through my mind all the time, like especially when I'm in my last year. When I'm in my last year, I'm saying, what, like, that's just one more year of money. Like, do you get what I'm saying? And if I don't do something now, I've got 3 kids and a wife to provide for and a house to pay for. So what happens then? And that affects people's mental health. It does, because I'm saying it's constant pressure. It's constant. Because
you're playing for, like, for example, like me, like I've got my contract in terms of like working my normal job, but like there's no expiry date on mine. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like it's one of those ones where it's like if I leave, it's gonna be because of the fact that I want to leave and I want to do career progression. Or I've done something mad and they're gonna fire me. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not downplaying this, like, obviously, because some people might watch this and think, but they get paid a lot, and I'm not disputing that. But what I am saying is that, like, don't feel like because they are getting paid a lot that for some of them they are paying for their contracts. Do you know, they're playing for their contract. Like, you can have a 2-year deal, but if you don't perform in that 2 years,
you're gone.
You're gone.
And if I'm honest, it's the majority. Like, they say they get paid a lot. I'm not saying we don't get paid well. We do get paid very well. Like, and it's all through the levels. But the top and the rest is not. You can't compare it. You can't compare the Prem money. Maybe champ money is good, like very, very good as well. But then there's a big gap from League One all the way down. I'm telling you. So what people think that footballers make, like, it's not like there's a big gap. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Do you know what I mean? So
there's a big gap between Westies and mine.
He's my young boy, so you have to show him.
No, but it's so important that we have these conversations, because even that, like, you're saying, like, there's a difference between, like, maybe Prem, Champ, and then lower league. Like, I'm looking at that. When you told me your story about, like, you had to get another job, I'm like, in my naive mind, you're a footballer. You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean you're like, you travel week in, week out, you know what I mean?
Exactly. Like, so and that's what I'm saying. It's not. As I said, we get paid well for what we do. It's something that we do, and that's through all the levels. I'm not saying that we don't get paid well, but what you think, like, a Prem the Prem could be unlimited money. Like, then and Champ is very, very good money as well. All the levels are good money, but what I'm saying is that when it gets from League One down, like, what people think that, even though we're in the same field, the money is
depends
not.
what club you're at.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Because there'll be players in our league that are probably earning double what a League One
player. Do you get what I'm trying to say? But then there'll be players in
Westie's one of them.
No, this guy, 35 goals. You know what I'm saying?
Goal bonuses.
You get what I'm trying to say? 35 goals. You know what I'm saying? But
nah, it's important that we do talk about these things as well, and especially, like, for example, like, we've got the women's game coming up as well, like, and there's going to be changes in that as well. Like, there's going to be things in the women's game that's going to start changing. Like, we need to kind of be prepared for football across the globe. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not just the men's game. There's going to be that with the women's game as well. They're going to have their pressures as well that they're going to have to deal with. You know what I mean? So have you got anything in terms of, like, that you could elaborate on where you've obviously had your setbacks, but then it's like, do you know what? I bounce back from this because of like my resilience, or I realised that, you know what, I need to fix up, I need to do something.
I think it was when after my ACL.
Okay.
So when I dropped down to EC, because the season after I done my ACL, obviously I played and I done okay for Orient, but we ended up getting relegated.
Okay.
And I blamed that because like I said, fitness wise, I was heavy. I was like 10 kilos heavier than I was. Again, I was drinking on the weekends, going out, just enjoying myself too much.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that season, obviously I dropped down to the National League.
Okay.
And I blamed myself from what I'd done when I'd done my ACL before that, because I didn't look after myself.
Okay.
So obviously the season I went to Eastleigh, I said, right, you need to sort yourself out now. I obviously done what I did, and ended up obviously getting the groin injury, the foot injury, not having a great first season. And then the second season came around, and like I said, Hess was the manager again. And at Orient, Hess was the manager in pre-season when I came back heavy. And like I said, me and him had a sort of altercation throughout the first few weeks of the season.
Right.
I remember he said I was overweight, and we played Fulham in the Carabao Cup. He had me on the bench, and it was 2-0 to Fulham, I think, at the time, or 2-1, 2-0 to them, or 1-0 to them. I come on and score 2. And I remember running over to him, like slapping my belly, like giving him a bit, and he's telling me to. But obviously, after that, me and Hess become like that. And then he was my manager at Eastleigh. He made me sign for Eastleigh basically, and then he became my manager. And I said to myself, right, I'm not gonna let him down again. How I let him down before, because of my actions off the pitch, and how I was acting off the pitch, because on the pitch wasn't going right. So that season, obviously, like I said, I'd done very well. I got 27 goals that season. He ended up leaving and going Dover. But I think that Orient thing, doing my ACL and coming back a shambles, like goalkeepers were overlapping me in pre-season. I couldn't finish runs. Like I was heavy. And I sort of said, right, I need to separate the two now. Just because on the pitch isn't going right, I can't let that overflow. The only time now where I sort of let it affect me is on a Saturday. If we win, we're having a little drink. If we lose, we're probably going to have a drink as well. Win, lose on the boots. You know what I mean? But like I wouldn't, if I get injured now and they say I'm out for 3 months, I'm not going to go crazy how I was before, because I know it doesn't benefit you in any way. And now I've realised, if things are affecting me on the pitch, I can. There's thousands of footballers. I've got friends in football who have been through the exact same thing. Speak to them, like, because they will say, you know what I did when I done this, blah blah blah. So like, but like I said, I think that comes with age and maturity, because when you're younger, you don't want to, it's kind of scary and you're embarrassed to ask. But I think the world's sort of changing now, where your mental health is very important, whereas before it was sort of get on with it sort of thing.
So I'm looking at it now, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, I'm going through, like, Eastleigh in 2018 to now, we're looking, 2024, right? And I feel like, going through the stats, that period there was your best period in terms of scoring as well. Do you feel like that's happened because of the fact that, like, you got a lot more mature? And literally that happened after the ACL. Would you feel like that's probably maybe one of the key things, as you said, that's got you to a point where you're scoring more now? Yeah,
it's definitely, because like I said, I needed to split the two. I couldn't, because that season at EC, the first season where I was picking up injuries, I could have done a madness. When I went on loan to Barnet, I was struggling injury-wise, but didn't do anything silly, and ended up doing really well for Barnet. And then signing for Dagenham when things weren't going right there, I got injured a few times. I made sure, obviously I still had your fun, because I think it's important you have your downtime.
100%.
But just as long as it ain't messing up that, because in that on the field and training, it's going to get worse, and then it's just going to keep bouncing off each other, getting worse and worse.
It seems like you learn a lot, like, and I feel like this is probably why you have the relationship you had with it. Is it Rutherford, the young
Oscar?
It's probably because of the fact that you probably maybe see something in him in terms of like you know what, it's my duty now to kind of help with the youngers and stuff like that. I think that's dope, man. I feel like I feel like it's so important that we talk about these things because, like, for the youngers that are growing up, like, they've got to realize that, you know what, it's not gonna be all easy. And even the fact that you drop down, because I feel like, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong if you've seen it, like, I feel like for some of the young people that I've worked with, and I've spoken to, it's like they get dropped by a Prem club and they believe that, you know what, this is it. And I'm like, no, maybe you might have to go down a level. You might have to go down maybe 2 levels, man. Maybe go down to League One or go down to the National League.
Maka, he touched on it. Going on loan when you're young, it makes you a man. Especially if you go from like a Prem team down to a League One or League Two team, because the football might not necessarily be the same as what you're used to at your club. As you said, the men like you're being a striker, you're coming against big physical men. So I feel like, I said everyone's not the same, but I feel like it's important. Sometimes you go and learn and go and know yourself better when you go and learn. And then you come back to your club and you're like, you're better because you're like, raw. Like, I've just been with these men and now I'm not even playing against half the physicality that I just played against. Do you get what I'm saying? So. I think that's a factor, and for me it depends on position as well. I think strikers, it don't matter what league you're in. If you're a striker, you can score in any league. I promise you. A National League striker can go to League One, League Two, Championship and still score. I believe that. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're a striker, you're a striker. Do you get what I mean? So going on loan and stuff, I think it is part of your development.
It makes you. I think it makes you stronger. And once again, like, I will never claim to sit here and claim that I know anything more than anybody else, because I don't play football, but I'm a lover of football. But I feel like even like with the youngers, like, understanding that don't just stay in the under 23s. Actually go out and play, because whether it's National League, League One, League Two, wherever it is, you're going to be playing proper matches against physical people, not people the same age. And it's that, in my opinion, that's going to get you to a place of, you know what, like, right, okay, I need to be physically stronger. Like, even if we take into consideration what we've seen with Eddie Nketiah, how I've seen Eddie Nketiah like bulk up, and like how he is when he's got the ball now, there's a lot more strength within him. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, those are the sort of things, and that's going on loan. Do you get what I'm saying? Going on loan and growing. So I feel like it's very important, man. Yeah, man. I mean, like I say, do you know what? Like, we thank you for coming on, man. Like, thank you for just allowing yourself to be so vulnerable. And like, whenever I say this on the podcast, like, I'm genuinely proud of you. I mean it, and I don't ever mean it in a patronizing way, because like, for a lot of us to kind of even open up and explain what we've been through, you don't know who's going to be listening to this that are going to take from that and be like, you know what, maybe this is a chance for me. So listen, I appreciate you, man, for coming on, man. But before we get you to leave, I just want to ask you one thing. Like, from the lessons that you've learned and from your story, what advice would you give to anybody to like apply to life or to football, in terms of like when you're going through things, when you're struggling? What would be the kind of important
I'd say when you're struggling, you know, don't keep it to yourself. And if you feel like you can't go to your group of friends and be vulnerable with them, they're not your friends, you know. So like, I've realized now, before I didn't think I could do that with my group of friends. But now we know as a group, if you're going through something, be honest with each other. Because like we said, we're probably going through it too. As men, we're all probably going through the same thing. So just be honest with your friends and don't keep it to yourself.
That's dope, man.
Amazing, man.
Thank you so much,
for coming,
man.
Listen, 35 goals.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Well, listen, let's see if we can end on another high note, because we've got the game now still. So let's see who's gonna win out of this. I've got a few questions that I'm gonna ask.
Westy already knows them.
Why are you trying? This is what I'm saying. You can't just accept that I'm gonna beat him fair and square.
You're sitting there looking at.
I'm not looking at. I don't know. I lost. I've lost this before.
Okay, yeah. He has twice, I think.
Yeah,
twice.
So you haven't won a game?
Yeah, twice. No, twice.
This is going to be my first
So if you win this,
yeah.
it's fixed.
Yeah. My first win. Yeah. Let's see. Let's
Are we just jumping in?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. It's phones. You get your phones out. So I'm gonna say something, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get you to put the answer down. Right.
Okay.
And then at the end of it, I'm gonna get you to swap phones just to make sure that there's no.
And tell the truth, because this guy will lie and say I'm gonna get right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Alright, cool. Let's go.
Right. So this is literally about clubs that have played in the Prem.
So you're gonna win.
We'll see.
You're gonna win. He's gonna win.
Right. Name me one club that starts with the letter A that's played in the Prem. One club.
What?
Just one club.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Ready? 5, 4.
Cool.
Name me one club that's played in the Prem that starts with the letter B.
Okay.
From 1992.
Okay, from Premiership.
Yeah, from 1992. Yeah.
Okay.
When was you born?
Don't worry. When I was
72.
Name one club that's played in the Prem that starts with the letter D.
born.
5, 4.
D.
Cool. Next one.
Wait.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm stunned.
Name
I'm
one
stunned.
club that's played in the Premiership that start with the letter L.
Oh, okay.
One club. Yeah. Throw you off now. Name one club
D.
that's played in the Prem that started with the letter I.
Oh, yeah. Got this, got this.
Name one club that's played in the Prem that started with the letter Q.
Oh, okay.
Angelo Balana.
Yeah.
And last, name one club that played in the Prem that started with the letter W.
Premier.
Yeah, played in the Prem.
Okay.
Calm. If
D,
you,
though.
if you didn't get it right, swap phones.
Stop.
If you didn't get it right, no, it's done. It's done.
Wait, the gap means that.
Okay,
is
yeah.
the third one.
Cool, I've won.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I've won.
Okay.
I've won.
Cool. Right, okay.
Ah, no!
I've won. I've won.
Okay, cool. Right, so the first one,
No,
A.
I
Right?
forgot.
So A, what did you put for A?
Arsenal.
Both
Both
for
Arsenal, yeah.
Okay, cool. What did you both put for B?
I put Blackburn.
Bolton.
Yep, perfect.
Wait, you say what I wrote because I forgot what I've.
You put Bolton.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
For D, what did Paul put?
He put Derby. I didn't put nothing.
Well
Yeah,
done.
see?
Yeah.
Was that the only D?
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
this is fixed, man.
Right.
Your
For
your last one.
For L,
Liverpool,
Liverpool. What did you put for
Liverpool.
L? Okay, cool. I,
Ipswich.
Ipswich,
yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. Q,
QPR,
QPR.
W,
Wimbledon.
Wolves.
yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, so I won.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
won. Yeah.
So I won. I lucky, right?
Yeah.
No, that's it.
Say myself.
That's still on Miles.
Unlucky.
That's still on Miles again.
That's it.
You're supposed to be
Wait, can I say something?
No, go on.
He thought I got it wrong. With
Wimbledon.
Wimbledon,
Yeah, I did,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you still
You
lost.
still
I
lost.
lost, but yeah, I'm gonna win
Again,
this.
that was easy.
Yeah,
I forgot
D,
that.
like,
I forgot
you
that.
forgot
I was thinking D. I was thinking.
Yeah, you thought you was gonna lose.
Shocking,
You thought it was
yeah,
rigged.
but it's embarrassing.
It's
Paul-
not embarrassing.
Yeah.
Old age.
Paul, thank you for coming on, man.
problem.
Thank you for coming on. And listen, like anything that we can do to help support or anything like that, like because we got you your top goal scorer this season. We want to come and support you and see you next season, man. We can't wait to see you, bro.
Hopefully.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, man. Paul's my guy anyway, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you coming and sharing your story, man. It's important that people get to hear
Yep.
these things, man, because it's going to help someone, man. 100% it's going to help. So,
And like we always say at the end, if you are struggling or anything like that, there are some services that we will put at the end, local services and bigger organisations for anybody that may be struggling. Just remember that you don't have to go through anything alone, man. There are people out there that want to help you, that want to support you. So, like as Paul said, like speak to people, find your tribe, find who it is that you're gonna have that support network with. And trust me, I'm telling you, like there's people out there that will rather hear you bother them because you think you might be a burden to somebody when more times you're not actually a burden. Like people just want to actually help. So that's me. We're out. My name's Kerry Phillips.
I'm Miles Weston.
And thank you for joining in and tuning in. Welcome to the Set Piece Podcast. If you've been affected by anything discussed in this episode, we encourage you to seek support. Visit our mental health resources page at www.thesetpiecepodcast.com for help, guidance, and more information. Because when it comes to mental health, every mind deserves extra time.